Many of you may not be surprised by our choice of destination, but we chose to travel to a place that we think has great sentimental value for us, and while still being an attractive travel destination that we feel is off the beaten track. If you haven't guessed it yet, our destination will be the Philippines. As you all may know, me and Johannes are half Pinoys, since our mothers are born and raised in the Philippines. Fun fact, Pinoy is actually an informal term for being Filipino. The Philippines is a country in Southeastern Asia with a total popularity consisting of over 100 million residents. The country consists of about 7,641 islands, which is, in other words, a lot of islands. The country has loads of hidden treasures that is waiting to be discovered. The Philippines was a Spanish colony from 1521 to 1898 and was then controlled by the USA to 1946. This is why, if you listen carefully, you can hear that the language consists of both words and phrases from Spanish, and they also merged the language with English by including English words and phrases replacing words that doesn't exist in Tagalog, the Filipino language. Okay, let's pull the plug on the history lesson and move on to the more interesting topic of this presentation. Let's go ahead and talk about some economy. The currency in the Philippines are called pesos. 1 Norwegian krone equals around 6 pesos today's date. On our journey, we have brought with us an astonishing amount of money corresponding to 100,000 Norwegian krones. We've also decided to do all calculation in Norwegian krone just for the sake of simplicity. We have constructed a budget with a somewhat structured overview on what we're supposed to be spending money on, and will also later on show how accurate our estimate was compared to what was actually being spent. If we take a look at the budget, we can see that we have separated the various expenses into categories such as transportation, entertainment, and so on. If we take a look at the first category, flight travel expenses, we chose to estimate spending around 20,000 crowns, which makes for 33% of our budget, including taxis and other public transport services we may use. The taxi fare is really cheap here in Philippines, so we thought we'd just put some kilometers in the budget just to make sure we utilize the service, and also since we may need quite a few rides to get from point A to B. As you may see right here, we chose not to rent a car because of the really cheap taxi fares, and also that we didn't want to bother finding parking spots. Then over to the next category, that makes up 44% of our budget. It's called lodging. We have set to spend around 27,000 in total for hotel. The reason being that we haven't put any money on spending on breakfast and lunch is because we're focusing on getting hotels that have included breakfast in the price, so we won't have to bother finding places to eat early in the morning. And as you can see here, we put some money on dinners and also snacks and drinks just for we need that too, yeah. And some other stuff like gifts and stuff, we need that too. So the total money we're going to spend is 66,000, so we have like 33,000 left, and that's a lot of money. We have set the departure date to the 1st of January 2018. It is not a crazy coincidence that we have chosen this date. The reason for this is because there is a weather phenomenon that is called summer monsoon. It makes the summer, when it's really moist and heated, to a rain season. That is why we wish to depart in the winter. Also, the winter time, as we call it here, is the most pleasing time to be in the Philippines from our own experience. In order to be able to take the shuttle bus to the airport, we will have to travel from home, so we have arrived at Sortland before the bus leaves at 7:30 am. The bus arrives at Evenes Airport 9:30. The ticket price from Sortland to Evenes with a shuttle bus costs 300 crowns. But since we are students, we get 50% off the ticket and will cost 150 crowns each, which equals 300 crowns total. From Evenes, we will be taking a plane to Oslo. The plane departs at 10:40 from Evenes Airport and arrives at Oslo Airport at 12:20. We're flying Scandinavian Airlines. We are allowed to bring one luggage each weighing up to 23 kilos. In addition to this, we are also allowed to bring a carry-on luggage. The youth tickets cost 2,198 Norwegian crowns, which is fairly cheap. Our plane towards the Philippines departs from Oslo at 2:10, and we have layovers in both London, England and Hong Kong. The reason why we chose this route was since we are leaving so late on the day, instead of the early morning, we can much easier sleep on the plane, naturally, rather than having to sleep on the day and becoming extremely exhausted and jet-lagged. We are flying with British Airways from Oslo to England and changing the plane to Cathay Pacific the rest of the way. The price of one ticket is 4,856 crowns, including tax of 2,144 crowns. With some simple addition, we can see that the sum of the 2 tickets will cost us 9,712 Norwegian crowns. We arrived Manila at 4:30 in the afternoon the next day, the 2nd of January.
After traveling for over 22 hours, we will spend most of our time relaxing and exploring the city. Manila, or officially called the City of Manila, is the capital of the Philippines. The city was founded in 1571 by the Spanish conquistador Miguel Lopez de Legazpi. Manila is one of the oldest cities in the Philippines and was seat of power for most of the country's colonial rulers. It is situated on the eastern shore of Manila Bay and is home to many landmarks, some of which date back all the way to the 16th century. The city is home to 1,780,148 people in 2015, forming the historic core of Metro Manila, the capital region of the Philippines. The metropolitan area, which includes a much larger Quezon City and the Makati Central Business District, is one of the most populous urban areas in the whole world. We are staying at the 5-star hotel Makati Shangri-La, which features Wi-Fi, breakfast and dinner, and even our own pool. We will also be visiting the Robinson's Place, which is the biggest mall in Manila, before we go to bed for tomorrow. For today, we are going to visit the Pagsanjan Falls store, where we discover the stunning Pagsanjan Falls. The trip is due to take about 8 hours. First, we will be picked up at our hotel at 9 am, where we will sit back and relax as we travel to the town of Pagsanjan. Along the way there, we will stop at a traditional village and we will taste local delicacies like the balut, which is fertilized duck egg. As we arrive there, our boatman will greet and equip us for our adventure. First, we'll take a boat ride in a native canoe, and afterwards we ride a bamboo raft and discover the Devil's Cave behind the waterfall. In here, we will sit down, relax, and watch the beautiful waterfalls fall above us. After this, we will continue with a thrilling trip downstream as we maneuver the canoe through a series of rocky rapids for a truly adrenaline-pumping experience. After a day full of adventures, we will enjoy a delicious Filipino buffet with live music performance by a local band before we finally return to our hotel. Since our flight from Manila departs at 6 am, we'll have to wake up early and catch a cab to the airport. We will land at Aklan Airport at 6:50 am, and after that we just need to reach the Katiklan Jetty Port, which is a 10-minute walk away. From this port, we are boarding a boat that will take us to Boracay in just about 15 minutes. From there, we'll walk to our hotel, which is called the Asia Premier Suites. It's the best hotel, but it's far away from being the cheapest. Even though it's not the cheapest, you might think that it's expensive, but it's actually just about 100,000 pesos. This is about 20,000 Norwegian kroners for living in a 5-star suite for 5 days. After we have unpacked and relaxed a bit at the hotel room, we will go out and explore the island. First, we will get a guided tour around the island. This will take about 2 hours, and after that we will be relaxing at the White Beach, which is the longest beach on the island. Boracay Island and its beaches have received awards from numerous travel publications and agencies, but apart from its white sand beaches, Boracay is also famous for being one of the world's top destinations for relaxation. It is also emerging among the top destinations for tranquility and nightlife. Our plan for today is island hopping. After a good night of sleep, we will be picked up at our hotel at 9 am, where they will drive us to White Beach, where the boat departs. At this trip, we will discover Boracay by island hopping and we will create new memories with amazing people. We will get a glimpse of the thriving sea life and feel a rush doing a cliff jump at Magic Island. After that, we will relax and take a moment to look at the crystal blue waters at Puka Beach and also savor the local delicacies for lunch and experience the beauty of the island as we sail along. Boracay is an amazing island, but there's just so much more to be seen off the island. This trip will take about 4 hours, and when our trip is finished, we will drop off at White Beach again. We will spend the rest of the day exploring the island. For today, we have planned to do some parasailing because it is one of the most popular activities on the island, and it's also just such a fun and exciting experience for both of us. The parasailing will take about 2 hours, and after that we will just spend the rest of the day relaxing. For today, we are going to do some off-road adventures around the island with ATVs. This is a 1-hour drive around the low-traffic back roads of Boracay, and the off-road trails ends on a private beach. We will bring food and beverages with us so that we can relax and have fun on the beach. When we're finished, we will drive back, deliver the ATVs, and the rest of the day we can do whatever we want. We have decided that we will enjoy our last day at Boracay with a mainland adventure. The trip starts at 10 am and it ends at midnight. The full day nature escapade will take us to a local eco park in Malay where we can enjoy fresh air while checking out the spectacular view of Boracay and wander through a garden filled with beautiful butterflies. A delicious barbecue lunch will be served in a relaxing jungle garden at the Naboy River where we can launch the day away. Then we will enjoy a riverside bonfire before heading back to Boracay at sunset. Our flight from Boracay departs at 7:30 a.m. and we arrive at Manila at 18:20 a.m. We will spend this day shopping at Robinson's and relaxing before we start our big departure home.
Getting a good night's sleep at the Makati Shangri-La Hotel in Manila. The plane departs from Manila International at 8:30 a.m. 10th of January and arrives the same day at 23:05 in Oslo. We have chosen to take the 1550 plane from Oslo to Evenes because we want to spend some time in Oslo before we head back to home. So, and also the cheapest ticket was at 1550. It was 598 per person for a youth ticket. So that's a good deal. Even though the budget was estimated way before we had seen what the expenses we could expect looked like, what we actually ended up spending our money on was really close to what was actually estimated here. As you may see, the 20,000 right here that we estimated became 14,000, which is around 6,000 less than we actually used, which is good. And we can see that the hotel was also really close. So all in all, we used around 2,000 more than we originally thought we were going to use, and have 31,000 left. And that money we are going to donate to the Cancer Research Foundation here in Norway. Thanks for having us, and have a good night. Or, it's not a good night. Have a nice day.